All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Happy New Year. Welcome back to season 2 of Ed Local. I'm your host, Eddie Gonzalez, and today we got Clayton Treanor. Welcome, Clayton.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited because Clayton is he's got his own construction business, and you've had it for how long?
I've been licensed for almost 5 years now.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah, on my own for about 6.5.
Okay. So that's cool because the whole point of the show, like we've talked about in the past, is just getting people from different backgrounds, different walks of life, businesses, adventures, entrepreneurship that they do.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I got to know Clayton and we kind of got to talking about his business, I got a lot of insight. You gave me a lot of insight of kind of how the business runs, the ins and outs, and your experiences.
Still learning though.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
of
never
course.
ending story, bro.
You never stop learning. That's the human nature, right?
Yeah.
But before we jump into your business and get into the nitty gritty of construction, maybe there's a dark side, the unseen side. I don't know. We'll see. But you're born and raised in Watsonville.
Yep. Third generation.
And it's funny because when I first met you, you don't look like you're from Watsonville. Not in the bad way, but you carry yourself in a different manner, compared to like what I guess I'm used to seeing in Watsonville. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess.
So run us through that. You're third generation Watsonville.
Yeah, as far as like my dad's side of the family, my grandpa came here, I don't know, he was pretty young, like right after World War II. Went to Watsonville High, graduated from Watsonville High, owned one of the only security companies in the area.
Okay.
He basically like was a cop basically, and in the sense that like they called on him when they needed help.
Okay, nice.
Vet, World War II vet.
Where'd he come from?
I believe they came from like the Modesto area, and then before that, New York was where my family originated from. But him and my great uncle moved over here after the war. And then obviously my dad went to Watsonville High. My mom, I'm not too sure. I know. So on my mom's side, I know my grandma went to Watsonville High as well. My great grandma came from Mexico on my mom's side. She came from Durango. So, and then my great grandpa on my mom's side, my mom's grandpa, he came from Greece.
Oh, nice.
So they're, starting from there, I'm third generation. I can't, on both sides of the family.
Oh, okay. So you got some Chicano, Latino, Mexican heritage, and then the Greeks.
Yeah,
so that's a good little mix.
I'm
right
a mutt,
there.
bro.
You're
I'm a mutt.
That's new because I don't you don't usually hear. I mean, you got Mexicans mixed with like Chinese, African American.
Oh yeah.
Some Japanese, but Greek, European. It's kind of rare.
It is. It is.
So
I don't know how they communicated. So my great grandma never really spoke English, not too much, at least not around us. And my great grandpa never spoke English, so I didn't even know how they communicated. But they had 2 kids together, so started our little mix in Watsonville. So
but they loved each other enough to keep it going. So
they made it work.
No, that's cool. So your grandfather came here. You went to Watsonville High. Your father did.
Yeah.
You went to Watsonville High.
Yep.
What was that like? What was your experience growing up? What kind of kid were you?
So even though I have Hispanic heritage, I was the white boy, right?
Yeah.
And one of very few. So in reality, I was the minority, and in every school I went to, right? But I mean, growing up, like actually, me and Jess were talking about this the other day, like. At least at Watsonville High, we were tight-knit. It wasn't like the other schools where it's kind of divided, right? Where you have all these crews. Like, there was crews and, like, different people. But, like, at least my class anyways, we all kind of got together. We weren't, like, there wasn't no crazy bullies or nothing like that. You know what I mean? Everyone was really cool. I mean, earlier in my school life, like, I did get some bullying going on and shit like that because I was a white boy and kind of excluded. But other than that, it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. As far as elementary school goes, I went to South Cipuedes. I literally lived like a block away. I walked to school every day, rode my bike, whatever. walked home.
Did you go to Salsipuedes your entire elementary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, my dad went to Salsipuedes too.
Okay.
My dad went to Salsipuedes when it was kindergarten through 8th. I went it was kindergarten through 5th at that time.
I went kinder and 1st.
Okay.
So maybe you're like 5th grade, or probably wouldn't already graduated from there, but I went to there too.
Probably graduated.
That's an old school. Yeah. That's like probably one of
not there no more.
Not there. It sucks. It's Alianza now.
Well, so the cool thing was, my daughter, she just turned 6. They had a little preschool there at the time when she was starting preschool, and that was Salsipuedes, just the preschool. So I was all pumped because I was like telling my daughter, look, like I went here too. I went to Salsipuedes too. So did Grandpa, like it was cool. But to see it go away was kind of a bummer for me. Yeah. There was some politics involved. I don't know the hell exact story, but to see it go away was a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah, because it's one of those,
I spent a lot of time there.
Yeah, because you have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and it's like, oh, Salsipuedes, and you talk to because I work in the school system, and I talk to people or talk to kids, like, yeah, I went this way. I was like, what is that? It's like, oh, that's old school. That's
and aside from actually going to school there, I spent a lot of time there on the off season too. I lived right down the street. We played basketball there every day. We used the fields. I rode BMX a lot. We had jumps in the back field. Every day we were there. Yeah. I mean, that was a normal thing for us. And now it's all gated off. And I mean, I get it. It's different now. It's 2 different schools now, and or 3 now, because Salsipuedes is still there for the preschool. And you have Alianza is the front campus, and this back campus is
Watsonville Charter of the Arts.
Charter of the Arts, yeah. So it's split into 3 now, and it's just a little weird. You know? I mean, I grew up in that area up until I was 15, so I lived literally a block up the road on Heiner and Hughes. So I was we were always there. I mean, we snuck into the fair from the backfield. Oh, snuck into the races,
would hear a lot of stories.
We would, I road my dirt bike at Paulson Road all the time when it was closed. That was where I grew up.
So I got to ask, because there is some, I guess, ghost stories from that area. I think it's called Gravity Hills. Gravity Falls.
Well, so check it out. There's Gravity Hill, which is Webb Road, which is right down the street. But I literally lived a block away from the cemetery. So if you go up Hughes Road, at the end of Hughes Road is the cemetery. A good friend of mine who lived on La Bamba Lane. Dude, I'm sure he remembers too. But I've seen ghosts out there. We were young. I might have been tripping, but I wasn't dude, it was weird. I mean, we lived next to a cemetery. How would you not? We spend a lot of time outside in the dark, riding our bikes around. You've seen a lot of, seen a lot of crazy shit. I seen a lot of crazy shit out there. I seen a big old gang fight in the parking lot of Salsipuedes one day, on a Sunday, all randomly. It just random stuff, you know.
I mean, because it's outskirts. People.
It's outskirts.
You want to take care of it, take it outsed of town.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it got pretty crazy. You know, I mean, not like it was a bad neighborhood. I mean, it was a good neighborhood. We were really small, tight knit. You know, there was only 5 or 6 kids on the block. But yeah, we were next to the cemetery, so. It was. I seen shit that would probably scare the fuck out of people.
Probably, probably, because I know there's a house, on the other side of Hines, the one that goes towards Green Valley. There's an old, oh my gosh, those old school houses of what do they call them? Victorian houses. I guess it's a big old 3-story one, and I hear stories from that too.
Yeah.
And then Gravity Hills,
so I've done the whole Gravity Hill thing. I ain't gonna lie.
Is it real?
I put the powder on the trunk and all that, and I've never seen handprints. It's not like everyone. Oh, you see handprints, whatever. And then the story goes that a bus full of kids died on that street, whatever. Now I have rolled the whole hill like it says. You're supposed to be able to roll the whole hill. But I think that's just the fact that you're in a certain car that's weight, whatever. I don't know. Okay. I can't call the whole hand thing. I've never experienced that in all my years. I've also been in Webb Road, in the dark. We were riding dirt bikes, whatever. And I've never seen anything crazy. Now on my road, I did because we live right next to a cemetery. Yeah. So a little different. But as far as Webb Road goes, the Gravity Hill thing, I mean, could be true. I don't know.
I did it one time as an adult, and I mean, I tell people I'm a little sissy. I'm a big guy, but I'm a sissy. I get scared. There's some movies that I see and I still kind of get nightmares. Yes, I am a grown ass man. Yeah. And so I went with some friends and we were there and did the whole thing, and I'm just sitting there oh gosh, I hope it doesn't happen. Sure enough, the cars did move a little bit. But by the time that happened, I'm like, let's go. I gotta go. I gotta go to the bathroom. And we just like drove off. It's like that was my excuse, my way of getting everyone. Let's get out of here, dude, because I can't handle it. But if you guys have heard or experienced it, comment. Let us know. And then just let us know also any ghost stories that you guys have, because
I mean, I've seen crazy stuff too going up to the radio tower. Like up Old Mount Madonna Road.
Yeah. I've never been able to get to that radio tower.
No, you just you know where the Buddhist temple's at, right?
Yeah.
Well, you just go past the Buddhist temple, follow it. You'll hit like a gate in a dirt road. Usually the gates open during the summer.
But it says dead end, like
it says dead end. Yeah, it's private property. But I've seen hopefully we don't go national, but like. Dude, I've driven through there at night, and there's been like Suburbans all blacked out driving through there. Like, we had dogs chase us one night.
Oh dang,
we were smoking weed, so we might have been tripping, but we had dogs chase us one night. We must have been going 40 or 50, and they were right on the side of us, bro. Dang. Still, like, it was crazy, right? I mean, you see stuff at night that you don't normally see. The truck ones did kind of scare me. There was like a Range Rover all blacked out, all black, and a Suburban. And I'm thinking that's government issue. It's got to be. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And they didn't, like, roll down the windows. They drove by us really, really slow. Like,
dang.
We were just on a boonie, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, we probably had beer in the car or whatever. But, like, that's the scary one. And then but the cool thing about the radio tower is you see all 3 counties from there. So you look over, you see San Benito. You could probably see San Jose. You see everything. I mean, that's probably one of the coolest drives that I've been on.
Yeah, because I've always wanted to get up there. I've heard people that have done it, but because of the gate and it says private property, I haven't been able to get past that point.
Well, when the gates open, I mean, as far as I go, dude, it's fair game to me. I'll go.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it, but I've seen crazy stuff up there.
Dang,
I mean, that one's a little different. That's the one where you're like, I gotta go to the bathroom, but I'm not stopping.
Yeah,
I'm not getting out of the car.
Well, one time I did drive up there, and it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I pulled off to the side of the road, go to the bathroom, and randomly, because there's Old Mount Madonna Road and there's Old Watsonville Road that leads to Gilroy. 3:00 in the morning, randomly some guy just on a bike, I'm like, and he's all suited up with like the helmet and the skin suit and everything. I'm like, this guy's biking at 3:00 in the morning. To be honest, I didn't know if it was real or not at that point. It was like late at night, so
yeah, it was probably real.
Okay.
Probably the start of his ride.
Probably. People are crazy and they do stuff like that.
I mean, yeah. But I wouldn't go out there on a bike.
No. Yeah. And so growing up in Watsonville, there's been obviously changes, right? I think a lot of the conversations that we have with people over time, it's just the changes that Watsonville has just gone through. What has been one of the most, I guess, what has impacted you more? Like, what's been like the one thing that's changed? It's like, oh man, that's like a nostalgic, landmark that's been like removed, or, a restaurant, or what's been the biggest change in Watsonville since you were growing up young to now that kind of had a big impact?
I mean, I don't know. There's a bunch, right? Like, I remember growing up and being able to go like to the Strawberry Festival was at the fairgrounds for a long time, and that was a cool thing. There's local restaurants that I wish were still here. Like the Fish House used to be Lorraine's Packing Shed. That was an amazing place. We used to have Green Valley Grill, even though it's California Grill now, it's good. But there's not many like big monuments that I could say that I miss. Because I lived on the outskirts too, so like I wasn't in town a lot. When I was, it was because we were, riding bikes and we weren't really like enjoying the town itself when I was younger.
You're just kind of cruising along,
cruising through, and I was maybe that's the one thing that I could say changed a lot for me was I would never let my daughter go walk around town by herself, even when she's older, 10, 11, right? But I remember being like 9, 10, bro, and like catching the bus into town with my bike, riding around town all day, coming back home, and my parents being like, "Oh, what'd you do today?" "Oh, we rode our bikes into town," and they're like, "Okay, cool." And I'm like, keep in mind we lived out by the fairgrounds, right? So I'm like,
that was at least 2
now
buses.
I'm thinking that back then, like, damn, like that was cool, because now I wouldn't let my kids do that. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't. No way. There's no way.
Yeah.
Like I think things just changed. Like the traffic's really bad now in Watsonville.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, and I mean, I hate to admit it, but a couple years ago, there was that like article that was done. Excuse me. Watsonville's like the worst for pedestrian safety.
Yeah. But we don't have a lot of pedestrians though.
That's true.
I mean, you know, like compared to like a lot of the other cities around, like Santa Cruz is really bad. Like we don't have a lot of pedestrians that walk around. Everybody drives, and that's part of the problem with traffic. You know, everybody drives.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most part, you know. I mean, our bus system kind of got dwindled down a little bit. I noticed like routes changed. I used to catch the bus a lot. It was every hour. Now it's every 2-3 hours. You know,
is it really?
Yeah.
Dang, I haven't. Well,
routes got combined, and you know what I mean. Like, but that's a financial issue for our county. I don't think that has anything to do with like the actual town itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, that's just a financial issue for the county. I mean,
okay.
I mean, I do know that like now where I live, I used to catch the bus all the time from there. Every hour there was a bus. Now it's like every 2 or 3.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I've taken my daughter on the bus a couple times just so she could have fun riding it, and like I know
just experience.
Yeah,
it,
yeah. And I looked at the schedule, and I'm like, wait, what? Like it doesn't come back for 2 hours. Now we got to go spend time in town. Like, which is cool. I walked her around downtown, and you know, but a lot of people don't do that. Like our downtown really does. Like if you drive through downtown in the busy time, I don't see anybody walking around and enjoying the shops, and like
that's true.
You know, very rarely. I mean, farmers market, but that's as far as it goes. You
just
go
like
there
once a week. Yeah.
You go there for farmers market though. You don't go there to go check out the shops like that are open on Main Street, right?
And what's your opinion on that? Like, you know, that there's not really.
I wish there was more, but in order to do that, they would have to like gentrify downtown, and I really like the way downtown is now.
Yeah,
like. At that point, it's up to the people if they want to go and support all these businesses and you know what I mean? Like gentrifying it and adding, you know, a center lane with trees and lights to make it look beautiful and a big old Watsonville sign is not going to change the fact that people don't go downtown.
That's true.
You know, and it's going to just make traffic worse because people, like I said, everybody drives in Watsonville. So,
I don't know. Yeah, because I know the original plan was that they wanted to make a 2-lane.
Right now it's 4-lane, right? Lanes, so which... Imagine a 2-lane in downtown as packed as it gets now. It'd be horrible. Yeah. You know? And it's not going to change people from wanting to walk down there. Yeah. You know? I mean, it might steer cars away a little bit. They're not going to want to drive through that. But that's a main vein, dude. You're going, like, a lot of people drive through there to get over the bridge and get to South County. So, you know, I mean, that's a toss-up right there. I think.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, with all this plans and changes are supposed to go into motion with the next couple of years.
Well, and it's already going to get messed up with them remodeling the plaza, right? So once they start doing the remodel, like the traffic over there is going to be horrible, you know?
Yeah. Well,
but then again, farmers market's not going to be happening. So I don't know. Where's your water, Eddie?
I know. I forgot the water. We're going to take a quick little break because we're going to get some water, but give me a second. We'll be back right now. All right, so we're back. Had to take a little break.
We're back. Had to get water.
But yeah, growing up, changes. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going to be happening in the next couple of years.
There is. It'll be good for the city.
Yeah, I hope so.
Any upgrade is good for the city. Yeah, whether people like it or not. I mean, that's just it is what it is. You got to take the good with the bad, right? You might not like it, but eventually you're going to use it. Someone's going to walk to the plaza that didn't want the plaza to get rebuilt, and they're going to be like, okay, it's cool. You know?
You know, I will admit, and I'm very frustrated with this change. Ramsey Park has been going through some changes recently. Yeah. And they pretty much tore everything out, you know? The one thing that they did that really pissed me off, they took the slide off. That metal slide.
Are they not putting it back?
I don't know.
I think they're putting a full-on playground right there.
Yeah, they're putting a full-on playground, but that slide is like memories.
But that place has already gone through renovations before, because when I was younger, it was a baseball field and the Pony League field, and then they took one of the baseball fields away. But that's mainly because a lot of kids don't play baseball no more. Because even like Salsi, when I was at Salsi playing baseball when I was a kid, I played from like 5 till I was 12. Yeah. I mean, we had 2 or 3 fields. There was a bunch of kids, and then it kind of just dwindled down, and then they had to like combine all the leagues, and that's why they put it at Ansolo now, you know? So I get it. Like, things got to change, but, you know, that slide was crazy, bro. I mean.
Oh, yeah, it was a hot summer day. Like,
not just that, it was fast. Like, you know, it's a metal slide. Like, I sent my daughter down there one time when she was younger, and I was like, okay, that's not happening again without me. You know, like.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen so many things, and I've experienced it too. Where just bam at the bottom.
But it was a staple of that that park. It was. I mean, you go to Ramsey, you got to go down the slide. You know?
You got to make a shirt that says slide or something.
The Ramsey slide. The Ville. You got to do a Ville slide. Paul, get on it, Paul.
Yeah. Actually, a shout out to Paul D, Monterey Bay Murals, and to Crispy Co. I got you guys' hats here. Shout out to you guys. So growing up, and then what was your transition? What made you kind of lean towards construction? Right, you grew up, you're here.
Well, the construction thing happened later in life. So like fresh out of high school, I was a little troublemaker. I got kicked out of the house when I was like 17. You know, like I wasn't doing good for a while. When I finally got my act together, I was about 20, 21. I started painting houses. I guess you can call that construction. It's within the trades, right? But it's not really like what I do now, right? I build now for a living. Well, I guess I don't. My guys do, but shout out to my guys. Because I don't do much now. I do a lot of more administrative, but I painted for a while. And then when I met my daughter's mother, her brothers were all into construction. I learned from them, and they're badasses, dude. I mean, you know, some of them still work for me here and there, but they're badasses. And I don't know. I just took to it. Like, I really picked up the woodworking side of things a lot. As far as like the general construction goes, it's a lot more managing. Like me as a GC, the general contractor, like I manage more than anything because I don't do electrical, I don't do plumbing, I don't do HVAC. I have subcontractors for that, but I got to put them in the schedule. I got to tell them where everything goes. You know what I mean? Like as far as the framing goes, I'm hands-on, and I picked that up really, really fast. We did this big old apartment complex in San Jose. That was like my first construction job in 2013, 14. And that was kind of weird. It was like 600 units. It was like a rat's nest, bro. There was like a 200 guy framing crew, and like half of us were from Watsonville. We all commuted over there. It was kind of crazy. But I picked up a lot there. I had really good mentors. I don't know. There was just something about the framing side of things that I picked up really fast. Is it
easy? Is it something you can ease into, right? Like how easy is it to pick up? Because like, let's say someone comes in and they're new, like they want to do it, but they don't know anything. Obviously, they're green. You know,
it depends on the person.
Yeah,
it really does. Like some people pick up electrical really fast. I don't know electrical really well. I've tried, and I struggle with it. I don't like it. I don't like touching it. You know, I could change a plug, but that's about it. I don't. That's why I have electricians come do my thing. Shout out to A48 Electric. You know, like I don't like it. Like I just I don't know. The woodworking thing is different. You got to know not only codes, but there's specific ways to do things. And then on the other hand too, there's 50 ways to frame a wall. Yeah. And everybody thinks they're right. And it's just up to you. As long as it gets done in the same amount of time and it's up to code, who cares? I mean,
is it very easy to take shortcuts when it comes to?
Oh, that's all it's about. I mean, in any trade. I mean, and I don't want to say shortcuts as like a way of like, you got to find ways to do things quicker. So you find shortcuts to get the same result, right? Like, I mean, as long as it doesn't compromise the quality of your work, I would call it a shortcut. Okay. There's some guys who just do a hack job, right? Okay. And they're just trying to get done quick, or they don't know what they're doing, or, you know, they leave big gaps in between the wood, which is a no-no, you know. Like, I learned how to frame from union carpenters. We built schools. I had inspectors that would come with the credit card and check the gaps in between the wood, and if the credit card would slide through, we'd have to take the wood out and redo it. You know what I mean? Like, but that's schools. There's a very high standard when it comes to schools. Yeah. And it's different, residential, commercial, you know. There's different codes, there's different things that you got to do. But as far as like shortcuts, I mean, that's what it's all about. You want to charge the same and get done quicker every time, right? I mean, that's just like anything in this world. I mean, you want to find the way that's going to be the easiest route to that end result, you know? Yeah. That's going to get you there, and without it compromising the quality. So, I mean, that's what framing and, you know, all these trades are about. I mean, you got to learn your shortcuts. You got to learn the right way. And then once you learn the right way, you find little ways to knock time off here and there. Oh, I can do this quicker here. You know, like, It's just
no.
It's like that in anything in life. Yeah. I would say, you know,
because I mean, there's that saying, right? Measure it twice, cut once.
Measure 3 times, cut once.
Three times.
yeah, definitely. Okay. I mean, sometimes you just get it right. Like there's certain things where I get stuck sometimes. I got to sit back sometimes and just think because everything's different on every job site, right? There's always going to be.
It's never the same.
It's never the same. Never. I mean, you're like, let's just say your stud placement. You know, your walls when you're building them. If it's 16 inches on center, that's always going to be the same. But you might run into a problem where this wall intersects with this wall, and you got to change the layout a little bit, and then you got to figure it out. And then usually when you're going off plans, engineers don't see what we see on the job site. So the guys who make the plans, you got to end up changing what they want to fit the needs of what the actual plans are supposed to produce. And, you know, there's a lot of ins and outs. And it's a never ending story as far as like learning. I mean, you're always going to learn something. I know framers who've been doing it for 30 years and they still learn stuff and like, oh yeah, that would work out better. You know what I mean? Like it's just how it goes. I mean,
and in that sense, right? Because you're always learning. How much has the game changed? Because I know compared to maybe like say 20, 30 years ago to now, because technology is either advanced or plays a part into building something. How has that shifted and made it either difficult or more easy?
Well, I mean, as far as like building goes, it's easier, right? Like now, before they would hammer and nail. Now we got nail guns, you know, saws. Before they would saw by hand, whatever. I mean, that's changed. Building codes change, so certain like ways you have to build or certain things you got to put in change. It doesn't really necessarily speed up the process. There's no like machines that could do what we do. Yeah. Because like I said, everything's different. So a machine's not going to be able to tell you, I got to change this up to make it work. You know, they're just going to run what the plans say, let's just say, right? And they're not going to be able to change it. I mean, we can because we see it. And I'll see it ahead of time too. Like usually if I'm going to build a house, I review the plans for like a month before I even build that house, right? So I'm looking at them and making sure that I have all my game plans. I have a written plan down. Like we're going to start this. We're going to build it this way. You know, there's certain key points that I see that are not going to work, and I could already see it on the plans. They're not going to work, so we got to address those when we come to it. You know, but there's technology hasn't really hit the construction trade too much. I think as far as like the way people think and build, that'll help push things along. But like as far as like technology, like it hasn't done much to the construction trade. I mean, we got like saws and drills and you know, pneumatic guns now. You know, air
but
guns.
no AI robots or anything.
There's no
like
AI robots. I mean, maybe painting and stuff and drywallers. Like you could maybe have an AI robot like do the mud and texture on the walls. But like as far as framing goes, I don't think that's gonna happen for a very long time. And I hope it doesn't because I mean, what's going to happen is you're going to have a robot come in, build everything, and then you're going to have someone like me come back and fix a bunch of aspects of a building. And I've had that happen as far as like bad framers, where like I come into a project halfway through and like they messed up so much stuff that I spent more time fixing it than it would have if I would have just started it from scratch myself, right? So like, let's say building a house. I did this house across the street from my house like 5 years ago. We built like an ADU. Yeah. And the framers, they messed up on all kinds of stuff. We spent like 4.5 weeks fixing their mistakes, and I probably could have built the whole unit myself in like 5.5 weeks. Wow. You know, and then we spent another 4 weeks completing it. So I just feel like AI is just not going to reach the construction trade yet. And I hope it doesn't, because we need like more tradesmen out there. Yeah. I mean, AI just kind of, you know, it's cool for computer stuff and like you can chat GPT. I could write, you know, I could write stuff quick now. Great. That leaves me to work, so I don't have to be doing all the paperwork anymore.
No, that makes sense, because like I know with technology across the board is advancing. You know, there's a lot of jobs that they're getting rid of. For example, I was having a conversation with someone about Amazon. How the person who owns Amazon, you know, has created like robots, and now they're testing them out to the point where like they don't need people on the floor anymore. So eventually, what they're gonna do is just gonna fire everyone. You know,
I mean, in the in the administrative side of things, like the construction world, that's gonna be booming as far as AI goes, because I've already used certain certain products and programs to help me estimate quicker, and you know what I mean, like get that side of the things done. But I'm not a general contractor yet to where I'm just on the paperwork side of things. I still put my bags on. I still got to work. I have to. I mean, not that I want to though too. I mean, eventually I'm gonna have to step away and let my guys do their thing. But I like putting on my bags. I like working, but I have to right now. So as far as that goes, I mean, it helps me. It alleviates me from doing a bunch of paperwork and nonsense. Because I could get things done quicker and I can get out on the job sites and I don't have to be here in the office a lot. You know,
makes sense. Has there ever been a project where, like you said, you go midway and you had to go back and refix problems, but a project where you just had to start completely from scratch, like you finished it and someone's not happy or there was something that happened and you just had to start over?
Not completely from scratch, but you can't please everybody. So I mean, you have those customers who just don't even like timelines, you know. Like I could tell them, look, like for instance, I had a customer want a window and I'm like, okay, well, windows are 6 to 8 weeks out. I mean, within 4 weeks, they were calling me like, hey, where's my window? I'm like, I told you they were 6 to 8 weeks out, and it could be pushed more. And that was during COVID, so, like, it was even worse to get material. And materials were expensive, so they're looking at me like a window's $800-900. I'm like, yeah, for that size, yeah, and it's going to be here in, like, 10 weeks. And you want it black, that could add another 2 weeks. They might not even have it, you know? Like, it's going to take a long time. So I've had customers bow out of a job because of that. Yeah. Because of the timelines, you know?
People want it now.
They want it now. And then in COVID, it was hard too. So like, that's when I first started on my own in COVID. So during COVID, people were sitting at home looking at all their ugly houses. They were trying to get everything done quick and they didn't know how long they were going to be home. They wanted it done as soon as possible. And they're sitting at home looking at all this ugly stuff all day. So they want it done, you know? And then sometimes it was hard. Like then they didn't want you in their house or they couldn't be there. You know what I mean? Like, that was the hardest part. That also stalled me from getting my license a lot, too. I probably would have gotten licensed about 6 months to a year earlier if it wasn't for COVID.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty difficult to start off on your own, especially at that time.
Yeah. And I took a leap of faith, too. So I was 3, maybe 4 years into the Carpenters Union already. I mean, I was invested a little bit. I had, you know, money in my pension and, you know, I had a company that hired me back every year. I mean, we built schools, so I was only working during the summer. I worked like 7-8 months out of the year. I just had my daughter, so it worked out. I was able to spend a lot of time with her on the off season. But I took a leap trying to go out on my own because I left something that provided me full benefits, pay raises every month or every year. Like it was pretty secure, you know. The politics kind of screwed me up. That's why I didn't like the union. That was my fault for joining. But I also learned a lot. I learned how to manage job site a little better. I learned some other tricks that I don't think I would have learned on like a non-union job site. But that's neither here nor there. It was just it was cool for the time being. But I was also commuting every day to Redwood City, so I would leave 4 a.m. We would work 10-hour days. I wouldn't get home till like 7:30. I'd eat dinner, hang out with my daughter. She was like not even a year at the time. Hang out with her for like, you know, half an hour, and then I'd have to go to sleep because I got to wake up at 4 a.m. to leave again and get out to Redwood City. So, and I did that 6 days a week for a long time, you know. So it was harsh. I mean, there's not a lot of work. There's not a lot of union work out here in this area. There's a lot of non-union work. Like, I mean, obviously, I stay busy almost year-round now. There's maybe a month and a half out of the year that we don't work, but...
Well, we were talking about this the other day. Like, you're booked out till 9 months to a year, you know? So... Yeah,
I got a lot on the books. Yeah. And more to come, because I can always hire more guys and get more work. You know? I mean, it's hard. Business is hard.
Yeah. And going into that side of... contracting, you know, what are the obstacles with maintaining and running a business?
Everything,
you know. Everything, but what's
so like,
because we've had conversations.
You got everything from like training new hires who don't necessarily know the trade, guys who jump in it 2 years in, even guys who jump in it and they've been framing for 10 years. Like, it's hard for me because I do things. Everyone does things different, right? So, like, I had to learn just as well as they had to learn, like, hey, I got to learn to, like, let you do your own thing. And just as long as we get the same end result, I'm cool. But, like, you also got to train guys. Sometimes the money don't come in as fast as you're paying your guys. So you either got to have the bankroll or they just got to be on board with you. You know, it's a give or take. It depends on how fully legit you go. Like, I went full payroll and workers' comp and all that. And that's just that alone is another $4,000 a month that I got to put out just to have workers' comp and payroll service and taxes and all that, right? Like, when I first started and I was doing the cash stuff, don't jump on my ass, IRS. When I was doing the cash stuff, it was really easy because I got paid cash. I paid my guys cash. The money flow was there a little bit better, but, like, now I got to generate more funds. My prices go up. Customers kind of question that, like, wait, last year you were, you know, lower. And it's like, yeah, but look what I offer now. Yeah. Like, I have, you know, $2 million general liability policy. Like, I got
the quality has increased.
The quality of the company has increased. My quality of work is still the same. We always do good quality. Like, and I don't mind taking the extra. Like, even if I'm gonna break even on a job, I don't mind taking the extra couple of days just to do things right. Yeah. But as far as the company goes, I provide more of, like, a customer service oriented thing. Like, okay, I got general liability now. My guys are all covered. They're not gonna get hurt on a job and come sue you. Like, it's different. I mean, and that's the general way of moving up in the world as far as any job goes, right? Like, you can't just stay stagnant. Yeah. And you got to move to the next level. The next level is stressful. Yeah. It always is. And I don't know what's after this because I haven't gotten there yet because I barely just moved to this level. But I already know I'm like, all right, it's going to be hard for the next one because this was a big jump for me and it's hard, you know?
Well, from COVID and what you're describing, how you went off on your own and the struggles to now, it's a big jump, but it paid off. It's paying off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
You know, and there's that saying, right? It's like, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because I think in business and, like, in general, everything that you do, right? You got to be able to get out of that comfort zone, you know, because if you don't, then, like, say, you get stagnated and you just don't grow.
And even when, like, with me, it's going to be uncomfortable. Even when, like, the business side of things are comfortable, like, I keep trying to tell myself I'm always going to be the middleman. As a general contractor, like, let's say I schedule out, like, my electrician to come do his thing or my HVAC guy to come do his thing, and then they end up having to reschedule with me. They tell me that they can't make it for another week. I got to go back to my customer. They can't make it. I tell them, hey, sorry, he can't make it for another week. It stalls our project out a little bit. I got to go to my customers who are a month or two down the line and tell them, look, I'm going to be a couple weeks late because we can't get there because of this, that, and the other. Like, the timelines are always going to be a complication, no matter what, because it's not always perfect. Nothing as far as scheduling goes is going to be perfect. Sometimes it works out great. Yeah. Sometimes it's a train wreck, you know, and sometimes you just have, you know, a little flip of the coin. Like, you just never know, or it might be bad, might be good, whatever. I mean, it just depends. But that part's always going to be uncomfortable because I'm the one who has to tell my customers. Yeah. Because they hire me. They don't hire my electrician or my plumber or my HVAC guy, or they hire me. So I'm the one bringing these guys on to my job sites, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, like, what I say is going to be perfect because I can't control their schedule. Like, they're in business for themselves too. Like, they don't work for me. They just, you know, I pay them to do a certain job, just like my customers pay me to do a certain job. Yeah. So timelines are always going to be a crunch. Like, that's always going to keep me uncomfortable. Yeah. You know. And then as far as employees go too, like, sometimes my guys can't make it in, you know, and I'm cool with that because everybody needs mental days and everybody needs some time off. Like, sometimes we work really hard for a couple weeks and then I notice, like, everybody falls off for, like, a day, or, you know, I have a guy who's like, oh, I'm sick. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, cause I feel the same way. Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't necessarily step away. Like, if I got to take a day off, I'm still here at the office trying to figure the next job out or whatever, you know, I might be sick, but I'm still here. I think there's been one day this year, a couple days this year, where I actually had to stay home, but I was, like, sick with the flu. But other than that, like, if I got a cold or something, like, I might not go to the job sites, but I'm gonna be here.
Yeah. You know? As the head honcho, as the boss, you know, as the leader, how do you kind of keep that morale of your workers' consistency? you know, it's because, like you said, like, every once in a while you gotta give them a day off, or, you know, you gotta, hey, you know, maybe take them out to dinner or something. You know,
it's different, man. Like, That's the one thing I'm still getting used to. Because like I said, the work I could do no problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's everything else that I wasn't doing when I was in the Carpenters Union that I got to get used to, right? Like, you have to manage your guys. And at the same time, you don't want to manage them. Like, like some of my guys know exactly what they need to do. So I get on the job site. I'm like, hey, you got to do this, this, and that. This is the project. This is what we got to do. Kind of do your thing, you know? And like, there's been a couple times where they're just calling me nonstop. Like, what do you want me to do here? I'm like, dude, just use your judgment. Like, you guys know what we got to do. You know the end result. Just get it done, you know? But then at the same time, it's like, I want to drive that bus sometimes. I want to be like, no, I want it this way. So it confuses them, and I get it. But, like, there's certain things that I'm like, look, I want it this way, done this way because, like, that was my vision, right? Like, I need it done this way. We have a certain timeline, or I have to have it done a certain way. This is how it has to get done. And then they might not necessarily know how to do it that way, so it takes them a little bit extra time. Then that's when I got to step back and be like, okay, you need the extra day to just get it done. I get it, you know? That's the hard part. As far as the morale goes with the guys, it varies, bro. It varies per employee.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's different. Everyone wants a day off here or there. Everyone needs, you know, an extra bump in pay, or you know what I mean? Like, it just varies from guy to guy. And like I said, sometimes things happen where, like, I don't get paid in time and I can't necessarily pay my guys in time. It's happened a couple times. I ain't gonna lie. Like, it's just the bumps in the road, you know? Like, and then I'm struggling to, like, make ends meet. Like, this year there's been a couple times where I didn't pay myself for like a month and a half, 2 months. And I was just kind of rolling, like, to make sure that everyone else got taken care of, at least a little bit, you know? Like, I would get some money in, and I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna split it between you guys, and we're gonna, you know, we're gonna make it work, but I'm not gonna take nothing from it, you know? It just depends. I try and buy lunch for the guys on Fridays, you know, if I can. Lately, we've been pretty slow, so Fridays we don't really work, but it just depends, you know? Try and do a little bit of everything.
No, for sure. Yeah, and what do you do to take the load off? Like, what's your...
You know what? It's my daughter and my girlfriend and my family. Like, those are the things that I usually help me take the load off all of work stuff, right? Like, I want to come home to my daughter. I want to, you know, have a sit down with Jess and, like, talk about our days, and, like, I guess it helps me alleviate the problems that I have going on job sites and, like, with the guys, and, you know, business wise, it's cool. But that's really it. I mean, I don't have time for nothing else. I don't have time to go on vacations right now. Maybe we go for, like, a weekend somewhere or something like that. But other than that, it's about, you know, it's about just getting my business going. I'm only 5 years in, so I have, like, a 10-year plan where in 10 years I want to be able to, like, step away a little bit and let it run itself, and maybe come in just to sign checks and check on everybody, and, you know, but if I get there, great. If not, I just keep pushing. I mean,
do you have a project that maybe you're working on yourself personally that's like, all right, yes, I'm building, I'm framing, I'm doing all this stuff at work, but I got, like, a little side project on my own, you know, you don't really have much time, but, like, I guess you could say it's like, do you build on your off time too if you have time? You know, because
I don't know. My off time either consists of helping Carrasco Concepts build whatever she needs, or help her with markets or whatever. But that's also some alleviation for me too. Like, I don't work for her. I just kind of help her out. Like, I like going to the markets with her because I can sit back after we're all set up and she does her thing, and I can just relax and watch everybody and check out the scenery and, you know, and enjoy life. But there's times where I have to work too, right? So we're, like, right now we're all spread out. I have a bunch of job sites going, so I have guys everywhere, and I have to go to a job site too and work. And that's kind of like my little project. Like, you know, okay, cool, I can be here without, like, you know, the guys being in my way, and, like, I can do things how I want, and I can still get this job done and move on to the next. And so, not necessarily my jobs, but my business's jobs. Yeah, like, I can call one of like mine, and I can just, you know, stay there and let them go to another job site, and then I don't really get bugged. But that's as far as, like, me, no, I don't have time. You don't, though, you know?
No, it makes sense.
Especially right now, I'm not at the point where, like, I have any administrative employees. It's all just workers for job sites, and, like, I got to do all the administrative stuff too. So I'm on my phone a lot. I do a lot of stuff from my phone. You know, I do a lot of estimating from my phone, invoicing from my phone. Like, I'll be on a job site and I'll have to like walk away for like an hour and sit in my truck and do that. I mean, I have an office here, right? But like, I'm very rarely here.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe once every couple of weeks. Unless it's slow, then I can come over here and do my thing. But for the most part, I'm
well, the fact that you took time to do this podcast, you know, on a busy schedule. So
it's Sunday, bro. Oh, it's Sunday. It's not Sunday. It's the first. We're on a holiday.
Yeah. So,
and I get to drink a beer. See,
there you go.
Works.
Okay. Yeah. No, that seems like it's a stressful job, but it has its rewards. It's
stressful, but it's different when you put yourself in that situation. Mm-hmm. Like, I knew it was going to be stressful. I knew there was a huge learning curve as far as like the administrative side that I was going to have to learn. So I went into that knowing that, okay, it's going to be different for me because I'm not just going to be able to do the work. Yeah. I got to learn everything else too. So when you're thrown into a situation where it's stressful for you and you didn't ask for that stress, the stress is different. Like, it's stressful. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I put my phone on do not disturb. Just everybody leave me the fuck alone. No, you know, sure. But I know that it's coming because I put myself in this situation. I set myself up for this. So it's just different. It's a different stress. I can handle it. Yeah. You know,
I did want to ask because, like you said, you're more in like a managerial role with your business. And we've talked about it, but maybe you could like kind of help people who don't know, or maybe are just trying to start off their business too as a contractor, construction, bidding for projects. You know, I think we've had conversations about like projects, but there's a process to applying for it. What's that like, or what's the process like?
It's different. So a lot of it's based on, like, let's say labor costs is based on what you pay your guys, what overhead you have. You know, like every contractor has a different price per hour, basically. And it depends. Like, some of the bigger contractors have like a big old warehouse and an office, and I mean, that all gets tacked onto your price. You know, tool costs. Like, if I use a shovel, I mean, eventually I'm gonna have to buy that shovel again. So that little cost, no matter how big it is, gets added onto your hourly price. So everybody has a different hourly price. Materials is just based on what material costs are at the time, and if you're floating that cost or if your customers are floating that cost. So like, if I got to float a job and I'm the one paying for the materials, I tack on extra money on top of it because I got to make, you don't give a loan for 0% interest, basically. And when you're floating a job, that's kind of what it is. You're loaning your customer your credit in order to get the materials that they need, and then they pay you at the end. So you add your extra money to it. And bidding, it depends. Like, you got to be pretty savvy on the work stuff, and depending on what the job entails, like, if there's a lot of electrical, you got to get in touch with your electrician and be like, hey, this is what I got going on. How long do you think it's going to take? So that way you can add that into your price. Like, it just depends. It's like that's what I was saying. It's, as far as construction goes, there's a lot of variables. I mean, as far as work, the bidding process, like, there's so many variables. The way your guys do the work, it's different. It's going to be different every time,
But like, so say there's a building that needs to be built, a house, and because I know when it comes to like government, like, for example, the city of Watsonville, right? They want to build something, instead of a house or building, and they put it out for different contractors to bid on it, right? So is it like whoever gets is the highest bid, the lowest bid?
It's usually the lowest bid for stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's also like a requirement. So like, when you're doing public works, which is like, schools and for the city and all that, you have a requirement. It's called prevailing wage. You basically have you have to pay your workers a certain amount. I'm trying to get into that process right now, but it's different. They require you to show that you pay your guys those wages. They make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. And it's hard to come in. Like, they leave it most of the time. They leave it open to the public to bid, but you have to be one of their vendors, like, in order to do so. And you could miss it by $500. They're going to take the lower bid every time.
Yeah.
I mean, I could miss it by $20-$30 and they're still going to take the lower bid,
Yeah.
even though they know I'm the better contractor.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
They, at that point, they're not worried about, they're worried about their budget. They're not worried about the work.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool about residential. Most of the time it's someone you know or you were referred to, and they kind of already know the work that you do. So when you shoot them the price, it's like, okay, cool. Like, I already know you're going to do good work. So it doesn't matter if I got another bid from that guy and he's 5,000 less. I know he's not going to be up to par as like you are.
Yeah.
You know, but public works is different. There's a lot of requirements. You know, you have to, like, I'm not required as a general contractor to hold like liability insurance and all that. I do because it covers my ass and it covers my customers. It's good, you know, good for my customers to know that I'm not going to burn down their house and screw them out of a house. But there's requirements. You have to have liability insurance. You have to have workers' comp. You have to have, you know, it's called certified payroll. You got to make sure you pay your guys a certain wage. Like, there's a lot, man.
Factors.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors as far as public works. And the applications are huge.
Are they?
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't even need to fill out an application to go remodel someone's kitchen, but I want to do a little sidewalk repair. I got to fill out like a 20-page essay and shit. You know, like, I don't know what the whole requirements are, but I know that there's a big application for any job that you want to bid on.
Yeah.
You know, so. But they want to vet you. They want to make sure that you're the guy for their job, legit. You hold all the requirements before they even say yes to you. You know, I get it. I mean, I understand that. That's cool.
It's business. It's
business,
competition. Right? It's all that. You know?
Yeah, it's business. I don't know about competition because, I mean, you never know if someone's gonna underbid you. I could underbid everybody and then come back and be like, oh, we forgot this. It's a change order. We forgot this. This is a change order, and start making my money that way. But then you lose work that way too, because eventually they're not going to want to hire you because they're going to be like, look, you're always doing change orders.
Yeah,
like,
you're switching it up.
You're always changing it, even though, you know, we gave you the job scope at the time. Like, so you just got to, I don't know. You got to cover your ass. You got to make sure you do it right. You got to learn the system.
How would you describe then, like, if with that process, right? How would you describe?
Well, I haven't done that process yet.
Okay.
So I want to start getting into the public works game.
Yeah.
And just have a crew that does public works only, like schools and stuff like that. But I haven't got there yet, so I can't really call it.
Okay. So, like, how would you describe, in one word, general contracting and everything that you've done so far? Say
one word?
In one word or a phrase, you know, if someone wants to come in.
Not one word, no. General contracting is, it's difficult. It's difficult. And mainly because, like, I'm not a specialty contractor, right? Like, I don't just go and do plumbing. You know? Plumbing's, I don't want to say it's easy. It's hard. It's a great trade. But, like, you know, when you're going into a house and they're telling you we're going to repipe the whole house, you pretty much already know what you're going to do. As far as general contracting goes, I have 6 to 10 different aspects of the job if I'm building a whole house, right, that I got to be involved in. Whereas plumbing, you have one, repipe the house, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, or electrical, rewire the house and put outlets. And it's pretty much self-explanatory. As far as me goes, I got to schedule everybody out. I got to make sure I have contractors who can do the job. I got, you know, 6, 7, 8, depending on how many subcontractors I hire, and I don't do the work myself. Because, like, as far as my company goes, we try and keep a lot of the work in-house. You know, I'll have someone do the foundation. I'll do the framing. I'll do the sheetrock. I'll do the windows. I'll do the roof. I'll do, you know, all the floors, all the finished carpentry, everything. And I leave, like, the specialty contractor stuff, like plumbing, electrical, HVAC, to the professionals.
Yeah.
But even then, that means I still got 4 or 5 guys I got to manage that aren't part of my crew that I got to schedule in. I got to make sure that we're on the same timeline as them and they can come in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's what makes it difficult as far as a general contractor goes. And then there's rules as far as a general contractor goes. I can't just take an electrical contract. Like, I can't go into a house and rewire a house as a general contractor. Yeah. There has to be framing involved. There has to be 3 other trades. So, like, framing, sheetrock, and, you know, woodwork or whatever. And then I can have my electrician come in and do his thing. But I can't just go in and be like, oh, well, you only want rewire? Oh, yeah, I can't take that. Yeah. You know, there's rules. Yeah. Okay. As far as contracting goes. Makes sense. General contracting, anyways. But I can go and take my test and get an electrical license. You know, I don't know how to do electrical, so I won't do that. I won't put myself in that position. But I can do it. I mean, Like I used to paint houses, so I can go get my painting license and just take painting jobs. You know, just paint houses if I want to. I don't like painting anymore. So no, it's too easy.
Not challenging enough.
Yeah, it's not challenging enough.
Yeah.
I don't have to think. I just go and do it. Great moneymaker, don't get me wrong. But me, I like the challenges. I like the, the movement. Like it's too easy for me. And then I can't I know how to paint, but my guys don't.
Yeah.
So I would have to hire some painting crew, and then I would have to manage them because I have other stuff going on too as far as general goes. So it'd be cool to have that as if I got really big and I was like a developer where I was doing 125 houses at once, I would probably do that because then I would try and keep as much of that in house as possible, know. But I'm not gonna do that right now. I thought about it, but I don't take a lot of painting jobs anymore. I don't like to.
You know what? One thing I forgot to ask and to put it out there. What is the name of your business?
Mid-Bay Builders.
Mid-Bay Builders. Okay. Should probably introduce that at the beginning, but but yeah, no. If you guys are looking, anyone out there for any general contracting, or maybe even if you got a question, Mid-Bay Builders.
MidbayBuilders.com or Instagram, MidbayBuilders831.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I know. Right now, I'm seeing a shift in. We talked about it, right? That not a lot of people want to work.
Yeah.
Right. And it's true, across the board. But there's also a bit of a shift in kind of interest in some trades. Little by little more. I guess because people don't want to go to school, right? People don't want to be in debt. They want to spend $80,000 a year for a school. So they're slowly shifting back into that trade.
We need it. I mean. It's hard. It's hard out there. It's hard to find good workers. It's hard to find guys who take the job serious, you know? I mean, I don't know what the study is. I should have looked it up. If you would have sent me questions beforehand, I could have had some numbers for you. But I like this. I like this interaction, so it don't matter. But I know that there was a lot more people in the trades back then as there is now. And a lot of those guys are retiring. And there's not enough guys to replace the guys who are retiring. So as far as infrastructure goes, there's so much work that there's not enough workers to cover that work. So instead of all this work, let's say that they have on the books, that's going to take 15, 20 years to build these schools and roads and all that. It's going to take 30 or 40 because we don't even have enough employees to do so, and that's union, non-union, commercial, residential, everybody's changing stuff. There's always something to do, right? Yeah. There's always some people always want, there's a lot more do-it-yourself stuff now, but then what I've noticed too is a lot of people will do it themselves and then they'll have to call someone and be like, hey, can you come fix this? I don't like the way it came out, and it's well, you pay double for that. You might as well just hired someone who knew what they were doing. DIY,
because you saw it on TikTok.
Yeah.
It didn't come out like the TikTok said. Can you?
That's just the way I see it. I've had, and then there's a lot of guys who, I don't want to call them contractors because my first 2 years, maybe a year and a half before I actually got licensed, when I decided to go out on my own and just see what I could do by myself, after the union, I literally left the union, signed papers to not be a part of the union anymore. They give you 2 years to go back, but I didn't want to go back. In that time, oh man, I must have did 10 to 12 jobs where I'll call them contractors, but the people who came to do the job either just didn't finish or totally messed it up. I had one lady, she lived for 10 years without kitchen cabinets. She had a little plastic shelf and a microwave and an oven and a garage sink. Yeah. And she lived like that for 10 years.
Wow.
And we came in, we budget builded her whole kitchen for her. We came in, we put cabinets, granite countertops, nice little sink. We finished the tile, painted, put some can lights, nothing super, super major, nothing really, really custom, but she was so happy. And I was like, what happened? I asked her, and she told me, you know what? I had this guy come in, he took all the cabinets down, said he was going to replace them, did partial tile and just vanished on me. Never came back. And I had that a couple times where I walked in and I'm like, what's going on here? And they're like, oh, the guy just vanished, or,
And these are union workers?
No, these are non-union. No, yeah, non-union. In the union, there's a lot of I'll say job security because no matter what, like you're regulated. So when you take a job as a union member or as a union contractor, you gotta get that shit done. You know, and a lot of the union jobs are like out in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley. So there's big bucks. So there's a lot of revenue as far as like if you get the jobs done quick. So a lot of these companies are really on their employees' ass, and they're not. You know, you got to be really, really legit to be a union contractor.
Yeah.
The company that I worked for, they built schools. So we would have like the summers to build these buildings that we were building for them. You know, and it was like a push. Like, I mean, 10-hour days, 6 days a week. You know, sometimes.
Were you
12.
by any chance in the process and the making of the new one in Salinas? No, okay.
No,
that was like it just recently opened up like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, no. I did a lot of work in Redwood City. Did like Sequoia High School. A couple in Mountain View. We built I think it was an arts center for CT English out there on Summit Road. Did a lot of stuff like that. The company I work for also had a bunch of commercial buildings. We did a few like charter schools for them that were in like it was crazy to build stuff like that. Like, you know, we built, I forgot what school it was, but there was one in Mountain View and it was like a commercial area, kind of like over there by the hospital off Hangarway. It was buildings like that. And it was a whole school inside. It was a charter school.
Nice.
And like when I got there, I was like, wait, what are we doing here? I thought we were building a school. And I walked in, I was like, oh, it is going to be a school, you know, like, but yeah, it was mainly schools. There was a few times where I was like on a commercial building, but I think it was one of the buildings that the company owned, and they were just doing like a tenant improvement or they were upgrading their building that they rent. But the schools, it was mainly in the Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
We were in Sequoia for like almost a year and a half. Sequoia High School in Redwood City. There's just, I mean, there's more work in Silicon Valley in the Bay Area than here. I mean, you can find work around here, but it's hard. There's mainly like the guys who have tenure in the union who've been there for a long time already get all the jobs around here if they're from this area, right? So if you're not from this area, you got to go over there and find work. You know, there's a couple companies that I was trying to work with, even though I didn't get in with them, that would do like called clean rooms. So basically they go into like these bigger companies that do like, you know, computer chips and all that, and these machines that they have that do all this stuff. They got to move them from room to room, and these guys will build like a hallway, it's called a clean room. They'll build like this clean hallway to move the machine to the other room, and then they take it down.
Oh wow!
And that's union work. It's just constant movement, you know. Yeah. And these are big contracts, you know, $1 million contracts. Where you're like, wow, like, they were there. So my daughter's uncles were working for that company for like 3 years at the same spot. Just doing that, moving machines around. Like they would build the hallway, they'd move the machine. All right, now we got to build this hallway over there. Yeah, you know, and it's like not even woodwork. They wouldn't even let you carry saws in there. You couldn't cut nothing. You couldn't grind nothing. No sparks. Like there's oxygen, and you know, but it's all union work, and it's all Bay Area stuff. Yeah, you know, Silicon Valley. I mean, like Apple, Google, all that stuff. That's all union contracts.
They built their campus out there and all that.
Yeah. So that's all union contracts. You do a lot of different stuff. You know. Yeah. Then as far as carpentry goes, so like in the carpenters union, I mean, there's, so you got like the drywallers are part of the carpenters union. You got concrete formers because you work with wood, rough framers. You know, there's a bunch of different stuff that's part of the carpenters union. You don't necessarily do a lot of carpentry. You know, you do some woodwork but like those clean rooms, there's no wood involved. Yeah, I don't even know how they would call it carpentry, but. Because you're constructing something. Yeah, you're building. Yeah. You're considered, you know, a carpenter. So it's cool. I mean, you're not going to find that around here. Yeah. And the wages are different too. So as far as the union goes, like you work in the Bay Area, you get paid the Bay Area wage. You work over here, you get paid this wage. Yeah. You know, there's like a $7 or $8 difference. I don't know what the wage is now, but when I was there, we were getting paid like $54 an hour plus full bennies. Oh, nice. You know, and
probably more now. with that, you know, how do you see? Because obviously, you know, one of the things during the pandemic, right? You mentioned it was hard. I know wood skyrocketed, you know, during the pandemic. Is it kind of back to normal?
Yeah.
Back to normal a little bit.
Kinda. Yeah, it depends on what you're buying.
Yeah.
Redwood, like if you're building decks and stuff, you're high still.
Yeah.
I mean, pressure treated and redwood stuff, like that's all really high.
How have you seen, or what do you see in the future? As far as like 10 years down the line. Obviously, there's been a lot of factors, right? With I guess government issue, like things in the government, right? Elections, Senate or whatever, passing laws here and there. Like, how does that play a factor? I mean, it does play a factor. How does it play a factor, and how do you see it in the long run?
I mean, in the long run, it's good for us contractors.
Mm-hmm.
Good for construction companies, because the government wants to grow. They want to spend money on the towns. Like California has that part of the gas taxes, like fix the roadways, right? So they have all this money to fix all the roadways, and they don't have enough workers. So they have this fund that they're going to be working on roads for 20 years, fixing everything. So that's good. I mean, it's good for us in the long run. It depends on what sector you're in as far as construction goes. I'm not in that government sector yet, or like even, like county or state stuff yet. I'm residential, private. I mean, so for me, it's not going to affect me too much unless I get into all that, which you got to have, the bankroll to do so first, because you got to have the backing for it, or lines of credit and all this stuff. And I'm not working on all that yet. So for me, it's not going to affect me too much, but I see these bigger companies are going to grow. I mean, it's going to help everybody grow. It's supposed to boost the economy, because you figure, let's say a contractor that's going after these jobs needs 5 more workers. Well, that's 5 more jobs he gets to produce, and he knows he's going to have those jobs for a couple of years because he's getting all these contracts, right? So, I mean, it's good. That's what I want to see. Even though I'm not going after all that, I want to see that, because I want to see everybody win. I want to see the trade move up, and the more jobs that they offer, the more people are going to want to try and take those jobs. Meaning the more kids that come out of high school are not necessarily going to want to go to college for 4 years. They're going to want to go learn a trade. Yeah. They might join the carpenters union and go through their apprenticeship program. Electrical union, HVAC, whatever. Like, that's great. Do it. I mean, and some of these bigger companies are offering apprenticeship programs. Not as beneficial, I guess, as the union, because the union, their pay rate's great. Yeah. Like, everything they offer is great. It wasn't necessarily for me. For me, the pay didn't add up to like what I was missing as far as like my personal life, right? Because I like to spend a lot of time with my child and family, and I don't like to give my weekends up for the most part. So for me, it wasn't worth it. But for these younger generation who's single or doesn't have a family, and they can go and put all these hours in, and I'll do it. Like, don't be afraid to join the union. It's great. Like, it's a great opportunity. I mean, I just see everything moving forward as far as construction goes. And since the fact that we can't really get robots and AI in to build, it's great, because there's no way that they can take your jobs like that, So I think it's cool.
Okay. And I got to ask you, have you already, or is it maybe in the process as time goes and you have more time for yourself? You built your dream home yet? Do you have an idea what your dream house would be if you were to build it?
I do. I just don't know about this area. It's expensive. Yeah. I'm kind of in that middle where, like, even if I had the money to build like my dream home, 4,000 square foot house on an acre lot, whatever, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd probably split it up, build a smaller house, buy another property, build a smaller house there and rent it, and try and have some multiple properties. My all-time goal as a contractor is to eliminate my customers. Sorry. I want to be a developer. I want to buy a property, have my guys build it, sell it, and then roll that money into the next one, build it, sell it. That way I call all the shots. I don't have somebody telling me they don't like this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And I make money off all the ends of that. So, like, I can, make money on the build, make money on the profits from the sell, roll it back over and build another property. I want to be a developer. That way I don't have to deal with the ins and outs of being the middleman other than my own job sites, right? Because, I mean, every job site's my job site because I'm hired for that. But I'm not going to have nobody hire me. It's me. I you know, it's my property. I call the shots. I want the house here as long as the, you know, plans allow it, it's county, city, wherever it's at.
Yeah.
Then I don't have to deal with nobody telling me, oh, well, we wanted a window here. And then I got to go back and have it changed or whatever.
Like, this is my vision. This is what you gonna.
As long as it gets approved.
Yeah.
As long as it gets approved in the planning department and my vision's a go, I don't got to worry about it. Yeah. Right. And then I'm able to keep that moving and keep my guys busy. And so that would be my ultimate goal, ultimate plan, like as far as business wise. I want to be a developer. I don't want to be stuck in the whole customer service realm, because right now that's what it is. Yeah. As far as general contracting goes, I'm a customer service rep. Like I'm there for my customer, not for myself. Yeah. I love the work and we do good work for that reason, but like it's customer service. Like they're hiring me, so I kind of work for somebody still. It's not like I'm doing it on my own. Yeah. You know? And that's kind of why I got out of the union, thinking, I'm not going to work for nobody no more. I got to work for myself. Yeah. And I am to a certain extent, but you still work for somebody else. Somebody else still calls the shots in the very end.
You want to get to the point where, like, you're the end game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm the beginning and the end. Yeah. Like, nobody's coming to me saying, how I referred you and I want this, that, and the other. I can come and be like, okay, this is what I want. Let's get it done. And let's move on to the next one. Mm-hmm. You know? That's my angle. So, in that sense, I mean, I could build multiple dream houses that I want. Exactly. I just might not live in them, right? Yeah, or who knows? Like, I get big enough to where I keep a couple of those and rent them out. They're still my dream homes, but I'm going to rent them out and make residual income, right? So, I mean, right now, the small game plan is, as far as my own house, because I don't have my own house yet, small game plan is to buy a property, throw a modular on it, put a nice shop on there, so me and my family can live and I can run my business out of my household, because right now I have storage and, you know, rent an office and all that and work from there and then just keep moving that up little by little. Yeah. So that'd be the small one. The big one is developer. Yeah,
little by little. Yeah. So then I got to ask you right now, I got a bathroom. You'll contract the plumber to come in and do the pipes and all that. But let's say I want to... You got a toilet seat, you got a sink, you got a standing shower. Mm-hmm. You got a window, got a fan and all that. Just want to tear it down and rebuild. I don't know. What do you
as far as price goes?
Pricing.
It depends on how decadent you want to go, how extravagant you want to go, right? You can go anywhere from 10 to 20, 25 grand. Mm-hmm. Depends on how big. There's certain things that I won't, like, I have to do, you know. A lot of contractors try and cut little corners here and there, and it saves them like a couple $100, and I'm like, no, I'd rather just do it this way. Yeah. But it just depends, man. Like, there's ways to find your budget. You just gotta tell me what you want. Like, that's what I'm saying. Every job's different, right? So like, I can go in there and be like, well, I can give you granite countertops and a custom shower bay, and you know, you're going to spend an extra $3,000, but everything's going to be custom. Or we can just go get all the prefab stuff and install it for you, and you save yourself money. But are you going to be happy with that 5-10 years from now? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, kind of buckle down, pull the extra money out from somewhere else and get what you want now, because we're there and it's torn apart, right? So, and then you run into problems too. So, like, we're doing a bathroom right now. As soon as we tore it apart, we found all these problems with the framing. So we spent like an extra week and a half reframing the whole bathroom. You know, I mean, you don't see that until you start taking stuff apart. So that costs extra money too. So
you would probably have to reframe because there's 2 restrooms in my home, and so one of them is just like decommissioned. You know, and it probably needs some framework big time.
I mean, you just gotta. So
it just depends. Yeah.
What I'm learning is, because this year I've done a lot of bathrooms. Like on 5 or 6 bathrooms this year. Well, last year, I guess we're on the first now. Yeah. So.
When you guys watch this episode, just know that today is the first.
Today is January 1st.
Yeah, but you guys are gonna
2025.
You're watching this on March 21st.
Damn, we're far out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, you got to go in there knowing that you're gonna have to have a little bit of a surplus to fix things that you don't necessarily see. Yeah. You know, like we pulled this bathroom apart and like there was a wire in the middle of the wall that was open and just burning wood slowly without anybody knowing. Wow. Right, the wood was like charred. It looked like and there was like rat's nest in there. It looked like the rats were having a bonfire. They were loving life. It was heat and warm, and you know what I mean. Yeah. We pulled it apart, and we were like, "Oh damn, we got to replace all that," you know. And then you start looking at stuff, and you're like, "Well, we could get away with leaving this, but it's not necessarily right. And in a couple of years, it's gonna go bad. And we're here now, and it's open. Let's just fix it now." Yeah. But then that costs extra money, right? Yeah. It's not like you know. So it just depends. I mean, every job's different. You try and do as much as you can and see as much as you can when you bid these things, but nothing's ever perfect. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's rough. That's the problem with contracting too.
Yeah. Factors upon factors.
Well, yeah, and I try and let my customers know that up front, right? Like, hey, look, I'm gonna pull this apart, and I almost guarantee that we're gonna have to reframe this stuff, but we might get away with some stuff. But I don't want to like make any promises, you know. And this is my price right now, but it could be extra, and we don't know how much extra until I actually see it, you know. I don't know how much plumbing is going to be needed once we get under there unless I crawl under the house, and sometimes you don't even see it all then because a lot of the stuff's in the walls, you know. Same with electrical. Now I've learned to, like, the last 3 or 4 bathrooms have been wired completely wrong because they're just old school, right, as far as electrical goes. So now when I bid the last bathrooms, I'm just like, look, we're going to rerun all new wire. And I tell my electrician, hey, like, you already know my bathrooms are a full rewire. Just plan on it, you know. Instead of just putting new outlets and moving a couple boxes, like, no, we're just going to rewire it all. Yeah. I want it done right. Because you have to. I mean, you want to bring people's houses up to code. Some of these houses that we're touching haven't been touched since 1970. Wow. You know what I mean? Like, you want to bring them up to code. Yeah. You don't want things going wrong later because you're liable. Yeah. You know? And you don't want to be giving people like, oh, well, I'm not liable for this because I brought it to your attention. I'd much rather just be like, look, let's just get it done. Yeah. Like, you know, let's make sure it's done right the first time so that way we don't have to worry about it later. No, you know?
Makes sense.
So.
The ups and downs.
The ups and downs. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm the middleman, right? I got to bring all this stuff to, like, none of my guys have to do all that. I have to do all that, right? So I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off sometimes. And and keep in mind, sometimes, well, most of the time I try and have 2, 3, 4 jobs at a time. So I'm doing this on every job site. Yeah. So like the last maybe 2 months, it's been like, go here, check on them, talk to the customer, boom. Go here, check on them, talk to the customer, boom. Go here, you know what I mean? Send my electrician over there, go show him the ropes, show him what I got to do. Send the plumber over there, you know, like it's crazy. You know, electrician can't show up for two more days. We gotta hold off. Yeah. We can't frame or we can't close up until he's done, or plumber's got to do this and I can't close up till he's done. So my guys got to go somewhere else, and I got to move my guys around because electrician couldn't get over there in time, which is cool because, I mean, he's busy too, right? Yeah. Like, he's got jobs everywhere. It's not just my jobs. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's a struggle as far as general goes. Yeah. I mean, it's nothing against my subcontractors. They're fucking great, dude. Like, the guys that I hire as far as specialty contracting go, they're great. Yeah. But nobody's schedule is perfect. Not even my schedule's perfect, you know? Yeah. And then you got a guy calls in sick. One of my guys calls in sick, so I can't get the framing done today. We got to wait till tomorrow. Then that puts my plumber off, you know? And then he's got to move his schedule around, and, you know? Yeah. It's just a constant cycle. Yeah, it's mainly coordinating. And then in between, I'm running to other job sites to keep, you know, jobs going for next week because we don't have nothing scheduled for next week or next month or, you know? So that's something I had to get used to. Yeah. Because I didn't understand that. I thought, oh, yeah, we're just going to do all the work and it's going to be cherry and this and that. And I'm like, fuck, I don't even get to do the work no more. Yeah. You know? It's different game, bro. Yeah. No,
but hey, like you said, ups and downs, little by little, one day at a time. I ask a lot of my my guests, you know, towards the end of the conversations, like, you know, what do you got? Share some words of wisdom. You know, what is it that it could be to like upcoming people who want to get into the field, or, you know, just people who, you know, in general, like they listen to this conversation. You know, what is it that you're sharing with the world?
I don't want to give any advice as far as people getting into the field. Mm-hmm. I would like it to be an all around advice, right? Like to anybody in general. Do what you want to do that's going to make you happy. Money's great, but money comes and goes. Mm-hmm. Like, especially if you're a hard worker in general, like, it doesn't matter what trade you're in, if you're a teacher, if you're, you know, whatever, like, if you make candles, like, do what you do and love it and make sure that it's what you love it, and you're not just doing it for the money. I don't even know how else to word it. Because I've learned that, like, there's been jobs, like, let's just say, as far as construction goes, right? There's been jobs where I wanted to take the job because of the money.
Yeah.
You know? And it didn't turn out the way I expected it. You know? Mm-hmm. And then there's been jobs where I bid super high because I don't want to do the job, and they take it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, great, now I'm stuck doing this, you know? And I didn't even want to do the job. But it's mainly just, you're going to succeed. You'll have more satisfaction and succeed if you are doing what you love instead of doing it for finances. Mm-hmm. Like I said, finances come and go. You'll always find a way to make it work. Yeah. You know, whether you got to, like, downplay your financial budget to make everything work, you know, stop spending so much money on your phone, or, you know, stop driving everywhere and stop spending gas in order to make it work. You're going to be more happy that way. I understand that people want to do this, that, and the other, but, like, what happens when you're at work and you're pissed off all the time for 8 hours, you know, like, it's just because that's how it was with me. I was doing the union thing because of the money. I wasn't there. I mean, I liked the work, don't get me wrong, but it was the money that attracted me to the union. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the work. I could do the work anywhere, obviously. I do it now, right? Like, I get jobs. I mean, we stay busy almost year round. I didn't stay busy year round with the union. Yeah. I worked really, really hard for like 6 or 7 months out of the year, to the point where I was like Sundays, like, we would work 6 days a week. Sundays, I didn't even want to do nothing. I was beat. And then sometimes we would work Sundays, like 7 days a week. But I don't see the progress as far as like having a good life. Yeah. The risk to the reward. If you're just doing that, and you can make great money, but, like, also too, like, there was times where we were working 7 days a week for like a month and a half, and it was like I didn't even use none of the money that I got. And then when I was off, we lived on it, but it's because I was off. I had no choice. I had to live on it, and then I couldn't spend it the way I wanted it to. Yeah. You know, I'd much rather have the time. Time's worth a lot more than money. Yeah. Especially if you have kids and a family. You know, do what you love. Make sure that it's something that's not gonna just make you hate life when you're at work. Yeah. Because then that eventually bleeds into your home life, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be the person that nobody wants to have around because you're an asshole at work. Yeah. Because you're not happy there, you know? Take a pay cut. Yeah. Make $5 less an hour and do what you love. Yeah. You still make it work. You'll figure out ways to make it work. Stop spending money other places, you know, or whatever the case may be. I feel like some people just get intrigued with the fact that, oh, we have such a high living standard here and everything's so expensive. And it's like, it is, but it's relevant though, because you're still going to make the money to do what you want to do and get what you want to get. Stop buying steaks every day and buy some chicken. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's really easy, you know, like, it's really easy to figure out a budget. That's one thing I also had to learn as a contractor. I had to learn how to budget certain things, you know, like, when you're on a job site, like, I can't spend more money on a tub than I actually charge the customer, you know, like, it doesn't work. Yeah. Then I lose money somewhere else and I can't make the job work, or I lose my profits for the company. Yeah. Right? You got to learn how to budget. You got to learn how to work with what the money you have, you know? I mean, you'll burn out. You will burn out. Yeah. You know? Like, I'm sure you love teaching, but it's not the greatest pay in the world, but you're happier doing what you do than if you were somewhere else. I'm
happy. Yeah, you're right. I'm happy.
There's ways to grow it in wherever you're at. It doesn't matter, right? Like, you could be, dudes, at McDonald's, bro, and become a manager and make good money and still, you know, be happy because you're there or whatever, as long as it's not, like, affecting you as a person and the demeanor that you have, unless you're just a shitty person all around. Like, you know, but, like, if you're a happy-go-lucky person and you're doing something that you don't love, eventually the happiness is going to go away, and you're not going to be that person no more. And then people are going to start calling you on it. Yeah, it affects your personal life. It affects everything. Yeah. It affects everything.
I tell people, right, like, if you love what you do, right, that's saying, if you love what you do, are you really even working? You know, that's what it comes down to.
I mean, you work to love what you do. Yeah. You know? You work at it. Everything's work. I mean, you got to work at doing something you love. I mean, like, look at what you're doing right here. Like, you're not making no money on this, bro, but you invested and you like doing it,
I enjoy it.
You enjoy it. It's a good conversation. You're happy. Like, if you were just the asshole right here talking to me right now, like, you know what I mean?
Like,
I'd be like, yeah, you need to give it up and send it to someone else, bro.
Yeah.
You know, but like, you love what you do. It might not be great pay right now, but eventually people are gonna see how happy you are and how extravagant you are, and the more people you call to come talk to you, they're gonna want to do it instead of denying you or being like, nah, it's just a regular little podcast, whatever. You know what I mean? And you're gonna start gaining traction, and it's gonna work. You know. Yeah. I watched my business go from, like, I don't know, making pennies on the dollar to, you know, starting to grow. Now, keep in mind, I reinvest a lot of the money right now because I want to grow, but, like, it's not like I'm making more money for myself right now. I'm not, like, I haven't even bought shit for myself for a while. But a lot of money goes back into the business, but it's because I want to grow. Yeah. Like, I'm not taking a big old paycheck right now or whatever, but, like, I've seen my stats go up every year. Yeah. And it's not a lot. Some years it's not a lot. Some years it is. You have big years. You have small years. It just
small growth is growth.
Growth is growth, right? Yeah. And even if you break even and you're happy and you've seen, like, even if I broke even this year and I seen that I did 10 more jobs than I did last year, okay, now I'm gonna shoot for another 10 next year, and hopefully the profits are more. You know, I might not make them this year, but next year, I'm gonna make them.
There you have it, guys. Clayton Treanor, Mid-Bay Builders. Thanks again for coming on.
Yes, sir.
You're the first of season 2.
The first of
season 2, and like you said, I'm gonna grow this little by little. Yeah. You know, I got some great people that are gonna be stopping by. You know, next couple of weeks. You know, gonna have some interviews, and you guys will see them as the weeks go on. But yeah, man, thanks. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having me, bro.
Thank you.
I mean, we see each other every day. Yeah, I got the office here too, so you know, it's gotta happen at least once, bro. Yeah. You know,
it might be a part 2. I don't know, in like a couple of years when he's, you know, building houses. So
that, or I'll bring a couple workers on, or a couple subcontractors. You know, so everybody can tell their story, because that's what it's about, right? Like, we all want to put something out there. Yeah. I mean, you know, we're all gonna make it work.
Yeah, and this is what this show's all about. Like, get to know the average
and local, right? Yeah, so local. Like, you got listeners that are probably never heard of me, or, you know, and they're going to want to get their kitchen remodeled or whatever, you know, whatever the case may be. I mean, get Jess on here. They're going to start seeing her art, you know, like, that's how you grow, bro. Yeah. That's how you grow.
Little by little. So if you guys need some work done,
give me a call.
Give them a call. All right, guys. See you guys next time. God bless. See you guys in episode 2.